Imagine a future where you're not paycheck to paycheck, where dream vacations and that new car aren't stressful burdens but exciting possibilities. Financial freedom isn't some distant fantasy. It's a reality you can build, brick by financial brick, but it takes discipline and smart habits. In this video, we'll unlock the secrets to your financial motivation. But to do that, you need to learn how to master money. Now, if we are being real, financial freedom starts with a shift in mindset. Let's face it, our relationship with money can be complicated. We're bombarded with messages to spend, but true financial freedom comes from delayed gratification and conscious spending. So, let's unpack how to build a healthy money mindset. One step at a time. First things first, appreciate what you've already got. It's easy to get caught up in the game of keeping up with the Joneses, but that envy train leads straight to financial frustration. Instead, take a moment each day to be grateful for the things you have, big or small. Maybe it's a roof over your head, a delicious cup of coffee in the morning, or even that comfy pair of jeans you love. Next, fire up your imagination and set some financial goals. Suppose you've been dreaming about a relaxing vacation on the beach. Visualize yourself soaking up the sun, feeling the sand between your toes. Setting a clear goal like this trip will give your saving a purpose and fuel your motivation to make smart financial choices. Every time you're tempted by an impulse buy, you can ask yourself, does this get me closer to my beach vacation? Finally, learn to tell your needs from your wants. Needs are the things you absolutely must have to survive and live comfortably, like rent, groceries, and transportation. Wants, on the other hand, are those tempting extras, the latest gadget, a night out every weekend, or fancy brand name clothes. It's okay to treat yourself sometimes, but prioritizing your needs first will keep your finances on solid ground. Think of your budget as a pie. The biggest slices go to your needs, ensuring you have a stable foundation. The smaller slices are for your wants, the occasional sweet treat you can enjoy without feeling guilty. Okay, mindset is key, but let's get practical. You need some actionable steps to master your money. So, the first step is budgeting. Imagine you're planning a road trip. You wouldn't just hit the gas and hope for the best, right? You check a map, figure out how far you're going, and estimate how much gas you'll need. Budgeting is like a financial roadmap for your money. It tracks your income, which is like the gas in your tank, and your expenses, which are like the miles you're traveling. By seeing where your money goes, you can allocate funds wisely and avoid running on fumes. There are tons of budgeting apps and websites out there to help you get started. A popular method is the 50/30/20 rule. Here's how it works. Imagine you earn $1,000 a month. Using the 50/30/20 rule, you would allocate $500 for your needs, rent, groceries, utilities, those must-have expenses. The next $300 goes towards your wants, that new game, a night out with friends, or that fancy coffee you love. Finally, the last $200 gets stashed away in savings or goes towards paying off debt. Tracking your spending. Have you ever noticed money seems to disappear without a trace? Maybe you start the month feeling flush and by the end, you're wondering where it all went. This is where expense tracking comes in. Think of it like shining a light on your spending habits. Track every penny you spend for a month, from your morning coffee to your weekend movie ticket. There are apps for this too, or you can use a simple notebook. Seeing your spending laid out in black and white can be a real eye-opener. You might be surprised to see how much those daily lats add up, or how often you beat out when you budgeted for groceries. Awareness is the first step to change. Embrace the power of automation. Let's face it, we all have moments of weakness. Maybe you see a sale on those shoes you've been eyeing, and suddenly your carefully planned budget goes out the window. This is where automation comes in as your financial best friend. Set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your savings or debt repayment accounts. This way, you pay yourself first and ensure you're reaching your goals without relying on willpower in the heat of the moment. Think of it like setting your financial
autopilot.
You set the course, and your money gets there automatically. Debt management. Debt can feel like a heavy weight on your shoulders. High-interest debt, in particular, can make it seem like you're constantly treading water. The key is to get strategic about tackling it. Focus on paying off those high-interest debts first, like credit cards. The sooner you get rid of them, the less you'll waste money on interest payments. There are different strategies you can use. One approach is debt
consolidation,
where you combine all your debts into one loan with a lower interest rate. Another option is the snowball method. Here, you tackle the smallest debts first, regardless of interest rate. This can give you a quick win and a motivational boost to keep going. Saving and investing. Let's say your car suddenly breaks down. Unexpected expenses happen, And that's why having an emergency fund is so important. Aim to save 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. That way, if the unexpected strikes, you won't have to go into debt or raid your long-term goals. Once your emergency fund is secure, you can explore investing for the future. Investing can help your money grow over time, which is especially important for long-term goals like retirement. There are different investment options available, so it's wise to do your research, or we can make a video on it in future if you want. This one is so important because we know life throws big purchases our way: cars, homes, education. But if you don't approach them strategically, you are in for a disaster. And they can feel overwhelming, but with a smart approach, you can navigate them with confidence. First things first, do your research. Don't jump in headfirst like you're buying lemonade on a hot day. Suppose you're thinking about a new car, research different models, compare prices online, and even check out consumer reports. Remember, the sticker price isn't the whole story. Factor in hidden costs like maintenance, gas mileage, and insurance. By doing your homework, you'll be in a great position to snag a good deal and avoid buyer's remorse. Doing your homework also involves understanding a bit of history about money. Otherwise, you might find yourself on a rough ride with what you're doing. Imagine for a second money actually being made out of gold. That's kind of what the gold standard was like. Back in the day, the value of a country's currency was directly linked to how much gold they had in their vaults. Governments would literally hold on to giant reserves of gold bars and issue paper money based on how much gold they possessed. In theory, this kept things stable, like a gold anchor preventing the currency from floating around wildly in value. But some people argued this system was too rigid. Suppose a country needed to boost its economy during a tough time. Under the gold standard, they couldn't just print more money because they were limited by their actual gold reserves. This inflexibility could hinder growth. The gold standard had its heyday in the late 1800s and early 1900s. It made international trade smoother because everyone knew how much a certain amount of gold was worth, regardless of the country. It was like a universal translator for money. This helped global commerce flourish for a while. However, things started to unravel during World War I. Countries went into massive debt financing the war, and keeping up their gold reserves became less important. The Great Depression exposed even more cracks in the system. Governments couldn't print more money to stimulate their economies because they were stuck with the gold they had. This inflexibility is argued to have made the Depression even worse. By the 1970s, the gold standard was on its last legs. The United States, facing economic challenges, finally ended the system in 1971. Today, most countries use a fiat currency system, where the value of money isn't tied to a physical good like gold, but is backed by the trust in the government that issues it. If you're interested in a detailed history video about the dollar, be sure to watch our video on the evolution of the US dollar, tracing its journey from inception to the present. It uncovers fascinating secrets. So, learning about financial history, like how the gold standard came and went, helps us see how our money system has changed. And most importantly, it shows us why being flexible and able to adapt is so important for managing economies. Having a good understanding of money is like having a superpower in today's world. Never forget that. What are your biggest financial challenges? Share them in the comments below, and let's work together to overcome them. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more motivational money content.